your mats, relax and take the time to get into your space. And your space isn't just a physical space, it's a mental space too. Your yoga space isn't just your mat and your area around your mat, it's your mental space too. So take a couple of minutes to deepen your breath and slow your breath and your mind down. And start preparing yourself for relaxing, for working, but most of all, for focus. So we're using our breath to slow down our mind. As we slow our breathing down, we become more relaxed. And what we want to be in a relaxed state so that we can apply our mind and our thoughts with focus and attention. So from here, bring your feet together. Bring your right knee into your chest and give it a squeeze. Check that you're on the back of your head and not the top. Now bring your left knee into your chest. Give them both a squeeze and just roll from side to side. Point your toes up to the sky. Try to straighten your legs. Don't worry if you have a small bend. That's okay. And again, rock from side to side. Press the small of your back into the mat. Suck your stomach to your spine. And bend your knees. Bring your shins to 90 degrees. Bring your thighs to 90 degrees. And imagine your knees are on a hinge. Straighten, point, bend and flex. Straighten, point, bend and flex. And hold the flex. And straighten and hold the point. And again, bend and flex. And straighten and point. Bend and flex. And straighten and point. And bend and flex. Straighten and point. And again, bring them into your chest. And have a little hug. Roll from side to side. Keep your feet bent, bring them into the mat, let them touch the mat. I want you to take your hands and put them, palms facing down, under the small of your back. I want you to press your back into your palms so there is no gap. So where there would normally be a slight arch in your back, here, press your hands in so you get rid of the arch. From here we're going to bring our knees up to where they were before, and we're going to concentrate pressing our spine into the mat, and we're going to drop our heels to the floor, but without changing the bend between our knees and our shins. Keep pushing into the floor. So I find it easier to exhale as I'm pushing my back into the floor. One more time. And come up, hug your knees to your chest, and roll from side to side. So we're going to take our toes up to the sky one more time. And you'll notice, some of us will notice that the tops of our thighs are starting to feel a little bit achy on these first two exercises. That's fine, that's what we want. Rock from side to side. Not big movements, almost like 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And then rock to 1 and hold at 1. And come to 12. Now rock to 11, hold at 11. And rock all the way across to 1, and then back to 11 and hold at 11. Now rock to 1, rock to 11, rock to 1 and hold at 1. Now we're going to rock to 10. Hold at 10. And rock to 2. Hold at 2. And come up to 12. Bend your knees, hug them into your chest and rock from side to side. Take your feet to the floor, hip width apart, heels so that you can touch them. You square your shoulders, and I want you just to lift, tuck your pelvis under, and just lift your sacrum off the mat, no more than your sacrum. And hold that. So I'm sucking my stomach in. There's a definite dish shape going on in my stomach as I've tucked myself under. I'm going to hold that. Pressure I feel is in my thighs. And I'm going to push my tailbone to the floor and I'm going to arch my back. So this is like a lying down cat-cow without the use of the arms and your shoulders. And again, push your back into the mat, lift your sacrum. So my backside is off the mat, nothing else. And push down, arch your back. This time as we rotate our tailbone under, we're going to keep going and we're going to come up into a bridge. Pushing through the floor with my feet, really pushing my feet into the floor, and I come into my bridge. I'm going to come out of a bridge, come down. I'm going to bring my knees to my chest. I'm going to hug them. Roll from side to side. I'm going to go back to my bridge. This time, as I come into my bridge, as I get to the top, I'm going to take my right arm. I'm going to reach across as if I'm touching the 1 o'clock bit on the clock. And then I'm going to come back into my bridge, take my left arm, and go across and touch. I'm not collapsing my bridge here. I'm still keeping my bridge up. Come up, both hands up, left hand down, reach across. Come up, both hands up, right hand down, reach across. Come up, bring your hand down, stay in your bridge, and come down. Hug your knees to your chest. From here, take your hands above your head. Take your feet into tabletop. And just suck your stomach in and lift. So if you find yourself lifting aggressively and looking at your knees, you may be putting too much strain on your neck. So sometimes it's just as easy to tip the head back and look at the ceiling. Push your hands away from you. There is no gap between the small of my back and my mat. From here, I'm going to take my right hand along the floor and I'm going to twist my body and push it down to the side. So I've now contracted on my right side and I'm elevating on my left. And I'm going to reverse it. And bring my left hand up. Lie down, take my feet to the mat. I'm just going to rock my knees from side to side. I'm not going to go all the way to the floor. I'm just taking the stress out of the small of my back. This time, my hands come away, my legs come up, my body comes up. Now I'm going to take my right leg and straighten it. Really concentrating on what's going on in this section here. I'm going to swap my legs. Swap my legs one more time, or one time each. And again. Bring my legs together, take everything down to the mat. Take my hands down to the side. Take a restorative breath here. Take a big inhalation. As you exhale, I want you to take your top half up. Push your hands away from you. Suck your stomach in. Contract your ribs. Take your left knee up into tabletop. Sorry, your right knee up into tabletop. Point it away from you. Bring it back to tabletop. Take it to the ground. Left knee to tabletop. Point it away from you. Left knee to tabletop. Take it to the ground. Both knees up into tabletop. Take your feet, point them away from you. Engage your glutes here. knees to tabletop, feet to the ground, hands to the ground, and breathe. Take this opportunity to take a restorative breath. Take your feet out along the length of the mat. Take your arms above, behind you, and then I want you to press your back into the mat, engage your glutes, and lift your feet and your hands up. And come down. Bring your knees to your chest, hug them, and roll from side to side. Cross your knees, come up. And we're going to sit with our hands back. We're going to roll our shoulders back. Our chest is going to be upright, our back is going to be straight. Our feet are slightly wider than our hips. And all we're going to do, we're going to rock from side to side. And come up, widen your feet, make them wider, and then rock from side to side. So we want to get to the point where we can get the inside of one knee and the outside of the other knee onto the floor. And then the final bit of this puzzle is what we don't want to do is to come all the way over. We want to be doing it with as minimum movement as possible. From here, we're going to come up. So basically what I've done, I've rolled over to the side. My left foot is on the side. My right leg is going diagonally away from me. And my left knee is in front of me, pointing at 12 o'clock. So knees pointing 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I'm going to come up. And I'm going to lower my stomach to my thigh. What I'm not going to do is this. I don't want that. I'm hinging from the waist. And my back is straight as possible. And I'm going to come up. I'm going to come to my neutral position. And then I'm going to roll the other side. Again, set my body so that I'm not leaning away. And as I go down, I try to keep my back as straight as possible. This is quite a big glute stretch here, and glutes, when the glutes are tight, then they can give you all sorts of problems in the small of your back and your hamstrings. And come up, come back over, and we're going to rock all the way over, but this time I'm going to take my right foot and I'm going to place it out straight. So I'm in a kind of a hurdler stretch, as if I'm jumping a hurdle, okay? The block might come in handy here, because what we're going to do, we're going to pick our foot up and we're going to bring it back from there. Then we're going to lift it and place it. So the block, if you're finding that you can't pick your foot up, sit on your block and it gives you more room. So we're going to go forward, we're going to stretch. Again, I'm not leading with my head. What I'm not doing is rounding. I don't want this rounding motion. If anything, I'm pulling my chest towards the top of my foot. And I'm trying to keep my back as straight as possible. And then I'm going to come up and I'm going to lift, bend. So I'll go into our first stretch, and again I'm going to go forward and stretch. I'm going to come up, I'm going to lift the shape, straighten, come down, one last stretch. Come up, now we're going to go back into that shape, then we're going to rotate up into our neutral and down to the other side. When we get to the other side, take your right leg out into your hurdle stretch. And we're going to lean forwards and have a first stretch. The first stretch is gentle, you're just warming yourself up. I'm going to come back, I'm going to lift, bring round, stretch forward. Come up, lift, stretch, and then stretch forward into a more full stretch. That's good, come up. Come back to here. We're in a neutral in a game. All we're going to do is we're going to rock from side to side. This time try and keep both glutes on the mat. And when you've done that, we are going to go onto our knees along the mat. We're going to take our right leg, place it between our hands, and we're going to lean forward. So at this point, you can come onto the top and you can stretch into a long lunge. Replace your left knee on the floor, come onto the top of your foot. Push all the way back. Square your hips and lean forward. Bring your toes back toward you. Feel the tightness behind your knee there. Roll back onto the sole of your foot. Lift your back leg. Make contact with it. And it's up to you how much you come up. And come down. Take your right foot back. Take your left foot forward. Lean over. Come onto your toes. Lean forward into a good long lunge. Placing the right knee on the floor, push back, square your hips and lean forward. Pull your toes back, you'll get that extra stretch. If you point your toes, then it relaxes your leg a little bit more. You can go further and then pull your toes back again. Come forward, bring your right foot to your backside, make contact with it, slowly come up, and again lean forward and stretch. Let go of your foot, come down. Take your left knee back to your right knee. What I want you to do is just to come down into extended child's pose. From here, place your elbows on the floor. Lift your bum up. Take your feet, come onto the tops of your feet and push your bum into the sky. From here you're going to push your hands up, come into down dog. From down dog you're going to come in forward into plank. Push through the floor and hold your plank. From plank, push back, hips high to down dog. From there, elbows to the floor, then come forward into a low plank. Push back, elbows back, both arms up into down dog. Come forward into high plank. We're not going to hold high plank now, we're going to do 3, we're going to push back. Elbows to floor, low plank, push back, elbows off the floor, high plank, 1. Push back, elbows to floor, to low plank, 2. End in high plank and hold high plank. From there, lower your knees, sit back onto your knees, have a restorative breath. So we're going to open our knees as wide as we can. This is my favourite stretch. And again, I'm going to come forward. I'm going to try and keep my bottom on my heels. And I'm going to try and get my chest and stomach onto the mat. And when I get comfortable, I then try to push my armpits into the mat. And come back. We'll meet in all fours. And from here, we're going to take our right arm and post it through the gap as far away as we can. Just lower our head. If you want to, you can take your other hand forward. Key to this position is your hips are high and you're pretty much on your ear. To get as much twist in our upper back as we can. Draw your left hand back, push up, find your neutral, and then lower down through the other side. And you come up. We're going to bump our hips down to the floor. Come onto our back sides. Move down the mat. We're going to have a little gentle stretch on our hamstrings. So we're going to take both feet up. We're going to make contact with them. We're going to pull them towards us. With our toes pointed, that's quite easy. When we get to a position where we think we're just starting to feel the pinch here, bring your toes towards you. I guarantee you'll feel it a lot more. And bend your knees. Sit up, take them along the mat. And this time you're going to point your toes, you're going to walk your backside back. 1, 2, 3, level off, point your toes, and just move yourself into a forward fold. Be careful of the small of your back. So if it's aching, then all we're doing is you're rounding your back here, and you're better off sucking in, hinging at the waist, so you're resting your stomach and chest onto your thighs. It takes the pressure away from your back. And come up, take your hands beside your knees, point your toes, and you're going to lift your feet and hold for 2 seconds. and come down. As you lift, try not to push your weight back to counterbalance. Try to lift and take your chest forward. So lift and come down. It's only for 2 seconds. And lift and come down. If that was easy, shift your backside back, suck your stomach in, take your hands past your knees, and then lift and hold. And come down. We're going to do one more of those. So the trick is to get your hands further and further away from your body when you lift. And come down. Woo. So, block time. I'm going to place the block on our thighs or your cushions. And you're going to come down and you're going to really try to squeeze that down. You're going to pull down with everything that you've got so you can squash the block. And squash it as hard as you can. We're going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come up. Take a breath. And I'm going to do that one more time. So I'm really trying to push that block into the floor. And if you're finding it easy, get rid of the block, use a cushion. And again, you're going to push down with everything that you've got. Come up, good work. So that was a compression in pike. Now we're going to do a compression in straddle. So we open our legs as wide as we can. So I'm working on my posture here. I'm on my sit bones. My back is straight. If I show you from the side, I'm not doing that. I'm doing that. So there's a pelvis rotation here. And I'm up. So I'll do it at 45 degrees, would be better, I think. So we're just going to stretch for now. So we're going to take our block in front of us, lay it down and lean on it. And just so the object here is we need to relax. This is a hard stretch, so it takes time to relax. So just take time, breathe, count your breaths, look at your dust on the floor, and think that you should have hoovered earlier. That was me. And then when you're ready, come down to a little bit more. And come up. Compression. Place your block on the floor. So let's start here with the block in its highest. Bring it in and then just compress here. If you find that comfortable, move it to the side and compress here. Pushing the block with everything that you've got. If you can do that, place the block flat and compress down. And come up. Take a breath. We're going to go and compress that one more time. So what you want to do is push everything that you've got down into the block. You're not using your back to do that. You're using your hip flexors and the muscles in your groin that join your back and your groin together. Come down and press. And come up. Remove the block or push it away, and then go down into your stretch just to see if you've improved your flexibility in this area. I definitely have. And come back. So we're going to work our way up to our feet. Come into standing. And just rotate our hips. Get some movement back into our hips. And we've got our block in our hand, or your cushion. And what we're going to do, we're going to post through our left foot. And we're going to lift our knee, and we're going to balance the block onto our knee. And we're going to hold for 5 breaths. And come down. We're going to shift to the other side. You're going to lift your knee, and then you're going to hold for 5 breaths. And come down slowly. Rotate your hips. So we're going to post through our left leg. We're going to point our toe of our right leg, and we're going to raise it. And then we're going to balance the block on our thigh, and we're going to hold it. And come down. One more time on our, post your right leg, point your toe, raise your leg, hold the block on your thigh. And come down. Finish with your block, rotate your hips. So we're going to work our way down into down dog. We're just going to push back, and we're going to hold down dog. Push your hands into the floor. Wrap your shoulders around. And breathe here. From down dog, come up onto your toes. I want you to hop your feet forwards, cross them, then move your hands back, come into Dandasana. And we're going to do one more stretch going through our forward fold. And come up, open your legs as wide as you can. You're going to go down again into pie, straddle fold, or pancake as some people call it. Come up, take your left shoulder to your left knee. Slowly come up out of that one. Right shoulder, right side. If you take your arm above your head, make sure you can see the ceiling under your armpit. Otherwise you're bringing your chest to the floor, and that's not what we want. And come up. Take your feet together, bend your knees, lower yourself down to the mat as slow as you can. Bring your feet up, open your knees as wide as you can. Just rock for a moment. Take your arms out to the T and relax in this position. Slowly bring your knees together. Lift your knees up, stay on the backs of your hands and rotate over to your left. Look over your right. Both shoulders on the mat. Engage core, lift into neutral, check your neutral position is straight, and lower down slowly to the other side. Engage your core, come to neutral. Take your feet out as long as the mat. Open them. Take your hands somewhere between your shoulders and your hips. Close your eyes and just relax in that position. So you're in your corpse position, Shavasana. I want you to totally let go. Start to bring your inhalations and your exhalations to the same length and strength. Take your mind totally onto your breath. Count your inhalations in and your exhalations out. Make sure they're the same length. And when you inhale, soften your face. And as you exhale, have the feeling of letting go. If your mind wanders, bring it back to your breath. Just relax. I'm going to tell you a little story that I read some time back, many years ago. There was once a shopkeeper, and he sent his son to find the richest man in the world, to find the wisest man in the world, and ask him the secret to happiness. So the son set off on his journey, and he journeyed across many lands, and eventually he came to a beautiful castle in the mountains, and here lived the wisest man in the world. As he came into the castle, he noticed that there were lots of people there, and there was music playing and dancing, and everybody was happy, and there was some form of celebration. So he looked around for the wisest man in the world, the man who lived in the castle, the man who owned the castle. And he saw him, and he waited until he could have a chance to speak to him. Eventually he got to speak to the wisest man in the world. And he asked him, he said, "I've been sent here by my father to ask you the secret to happiness." And the wisest man in the world smiled at him, and he said, "Look, I can't answer your question at this moment, but," he said, "if you just spend the next 2 hours looking around my beautiful home, and then come back, and I want you to tell me what you see. But before you go, I want you to take this spoon, and in the spoon, the wisest man in the world, he poured 2 drops of oil. And he said, I want you to look after this oil for me whilst you look around my beautiful home." So the boy went around the home, and he went up the stairs, he went into the gardens, but he never took his gaze away from the oil. He was scared that if he lost or spilt the oil, the wisest man in the world would not answer his question. 2 hours' time, he came back to see the wisest man in the world, and he was pretty pleased with himself that he had the oil, both drops of oil, still in the spoon. And he said to the wisest man in the world, "I still have your oil." And the wisest man in the world smiled at him, and he said, "Tell me, when you were going around my beautiful home, what did you see? Did you see the beautiful gardens? Did you see the beautiful art?" And the boy said, "No, I didn't see any of that. I was concentrating on the drops of oil." And the wisest man in the world said to him, "Well, then go away and look around again. And I want you to look at the gardens, and I want you to look at the mountains outside, and I want you to look at all the beautiful things in the home, and then come back and I want you to describe them to me." So the boy went around again, and he looked at the gardens and the beautiful trees and the flowers, and he looked at the beautiful people in the garden, and he looked at the artwork that was on the ceilings and on the walls, and he looked outside and saw the beautiful mountains. And eventually he got back to the wisest man in the world, and he had a big smile on his face, and he was happy. And the wisest man in the world said to him, "Did you see the gardens?" He said, "Yes, they were beautiful." He said, "And did you see the beautiful rooms and the artwork that adorns them?" And the boy said, "Yes, they were magical." He said, "And did you take a chance to look at the mountains?" He said, "Yes, it was beautiful." He said, "But where's my oil? Where's the oil in the spoon?" And the boy looked down, and his gaze met the wisest man in the world again. And the wisest man in the world said to him, "Listen, I I can only give you this piece of advice about happiness. Take time to look at the beauty that surrounds you and the people that surround you. Take time to take in everything that the world has to offer. But don't forget about the drops of oil in your spoon. That story comes from a book called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And I read it many years ago, and it stuck with me because from a personal point of view, I concentrate on my goals, my outcomes and my responsibilities. And I certainly did so more then, and I could become outcome driven and concentrate so much on the destination that I forget the journey is a beautiful thing. So if you're anything like me and you can become too outcome focused, too task focused, then take time to look around you, get to know the people around you, spend time with the people that you love, go to the places that you want to go, but don't forget about your responsibilities and your goals. So the story is about finding a balance between taking in what the world has to offer, but also meeting your own responsibilities and your goals. Start to make some small movements and bring your consciousness back into the space that you inhabit. And increase those movements and take a stretch or a movement that your body wants you to take. Whatever feels good. And then hug your knees to your chest. And roll from side to side. And bring yourself up into sitting. And again, open your hands. And let's offer each other the energy that we all want and need. I wish you peace in your mind, strength in your body, love in your heart, but above all, balance in life. Namaste.